I stood there at the grill in my backyard in Dayton, flipping meat while pretending not to hear the snide little jabs floating from the table behind me. My 13-year-old daughter Emily was sitting stiff in her lawn chair, picking at her corn. My parents, both retired, both living under my roof for the last 3 months, were bickering like they always did, only now they had a fresh audience. "Nice of you to finally mow the lawn," my mom muttered, loud enough for everyone to hear. My dad didn't even look up. Guess someone remembered it's not free to live here. I clenched the spatula in my hand, but kept my face blank. Just keep the peace. Feed them. Get through it. I handed Emily a paper plate with a cheeseburger and whispered, "Eat slow, we're almost done." She gave me a small smile but didn't say anything. The evening was hot and sticky, the kind of Ohio summer night where the air feels like syrup. I grabbed my plate and sat down with them at the folding table under the patio umbrella. My dad took one look at his burger and huffed like I'd insulted him personally. "You know what's funny?" he said suddenly. His voice was sharp, louder than it needed to be. "We bust our asses for 40 years, and now we're stuck feeding leeches in our retirement." Emily froze. I blinked. My mom just nodded, lips twitching like she found it amusing. He pointed his fork at me, then jabbed it toward Emily. "You two, mooching off the old man like it's your birthright. Living in my house, eating my food." I cut in, calm but firm. "This is my house," he snorted. "Paid for with what? My damn Social Security check?" I didn't raise my voice. I didn't flinch. I just stood up, slowly, and looked him dead in the eye. "If I'm such a burden," I said, "pack your shit and be gone by morning." Silence. My mom's smirk dropped. My dad froze mid-chew. Emily stared at me, wide-eyed. I didn't wait for a reply. I turned, walked straight into the house, and shut the sliding door behind me. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. That wasn't anger. That was the sound of a thread snapping after being pulled too damn tight for too long. I knew then, we weren't going back to how things were. I didn't sleep that night, just sat in the living room staring at the blank TV, trying to breathe slow while Emily slept upstairs. That was about 5 years ago. But the first time my parents crossed the line, that started a lot earlier. I was 19, still living under their roof in Trenton, Ohio. Just out of high school, finally free, finally ready. I had this paper in my hand, acceptance letter to a welding program down in Cincinnati. Good school, solid reputation. I was supposed to start in the fall. I'd inherited 80 grand from my grandma when she passed. She left it just for me. Not for Darren, not for the family. For me to get a start. Grandma even told me herself before she died. Use it to build something. And I planned to. New boots, a cheap truck, tuition, maybe even a studio apartment near campus. I was looking at catalogs, dreaming about certifications and real paychecks. One humid night in July, my mom called me into the kitchen. My dad was already sitting at the table. His sleeves were rolled up, and his mouth was tight. That look he always had when he'd already decided something. "We need to talk," he said. I sat down, already uneasy. He leaned forward. "Your brother's starting a landscaping business. Me and him are going to run it together. He's got a truck lined up, tools, everything. But we're short on startup." I just stared. "Okay?" He nodded, too calm. "We need your inheritance." I thought it was a joke. I laughed, actually. Just one sharp, awkward sound. My mom cut in, voice low. "We're not asking for all of it, just to get Darren on his feet. We'll pay you back. Short term." "No," I said, without blinking. "That money's for school. I already enrolled. I'm leaving in 6 weeks." My dad's face changed. "Don't be selfish." I sat back, stunned. "Selfish? You're asking me to throw away my future for Darren's lawnmower business." My mom folded her arms. "It's not about the money. It's about family. We help each other." "That's not help. That's theft." My dad slammed his palm on the table, loud enough to make me flinch. "Don't you ever say that in my house." I stood up. "It's not gonna happen." They didn't argue after that. They just looked at each other, and I left the room shaking. I still remember my stomach flipping, like I knew something was about to break. 2 days later, I went to the bank to transfer some funds and found the account empty, wiped clean. Every last cent gone. I called the bank manager. She said the withdrawal was authorized by my dad. Turns out when I opened the account at 16, they had made him a joint owner for safety. I never knew. He didn't ask, just took it. I confronted him in the garage. He didn't deny it. It's for the family, he said again, like that explained everything. You'll survive, you're smart, you'll figure it out. And my mom, she just gave me a pat on the arm and said, it's already done, no sense fighting. I didn't scream, I didn't break anything. I just walked out and sat on the curb for 2 hours, trying not to cry like a damn kid. The business flopped in under a year. Darren barely booked any clients. They lost the truck, got sued over some backyard fountain disaster, and my dad had to dip into his retirement to clean it up. No one ever brought up my money again. Not once. Not even a sorry. It was like it never existed. And that was the moment I stopped trusting any of them. After that, I didn't say a word. Not to them, not to Darren, not even to myself, really. I packed a duffel bag, grabbed the few $100 I'd stashed from working at the auto shop that summer, and walked out. No big goodbye, no speech, just the sound of the front door clicking shut behind me. A guy I knew from high school had a place, room above his uncle's garage on the edge of town, barely insulated, smelled like gasoline and mold. He charged me $200 a month, cash only. I said yes before even seeing it. I slept on an air mattress, showered with a busted faucet that only ran cold, bought ramen in bulk and stretched it like gold. Some days, I skipped meals altogether, water and willpower. I still had that letter from the welding program in Cincinnati folded up in my back pocket like it could still save me. But tuition was shot, so I pivoted. Community college had a part-time trades program. Slower, cheaper. Not ideal, but it was something. I took night classes and worked every damn hour I could get. Welding scrap in a junkyard during the day, then loading trucks for a shipping warehouse from 6 to midnight. Back home by 1, maybe 3 hours of sleep, then start again. That's how it went, for years. People say hard work builds character. That's crap. It breaks you down, eats at you, but I didn't have a choice. I couldn't call my parents. I wouldn't. They never checked in anyway. When it got bad, when the zeros in my account stared back at me and my stomach cramped from skipping dinner 3 days straight, I'd remember what my dad said. You'll figure it out. So I did. By 22, I'd finished the certification program. No ceremony, no proud family in the crowd. Just a paper in the mail and a little breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. I landed a real job at a fabrication plant north of Dayton. Full-time, benefits, actual paycheck with commas. I was still dead tired, but it was different now. I had something solid under me. First thing I bought was a used F-150. 10 years old, rust around the edges, but she ran strong. I drove her like a damn trophy. Then I started saving. Slowly, 100 here, 50 there, cooked every meal, bought secondhand boots, learned to patch clothes with duct tape. Pride didn't matter. Progress did. I didn't hear from anyone. No calls, no "how are you?" No birthdays, no updates. It was like I vanished, and honestly, that helped. Nothing dragging me down, no one whispering, "you owe us," behind my back. I stayed quiet, head down, always moving forward. I wasn't building a life yet, I was just trying to survive. But even then I knew, one day when the dust settled, I'd make something that was mine. Every blister, every hour, every skipped meal. It would count for something. The dust didn't settle all at once, but over time, it got easier to breathe. A couple years into the job, I met Melissa. She worked in the shipping office at the plant, quiet, always wore her brown hair in a low ponytail, moved like she didn't want to take up space. Most people barely noticed her. I did. We started talking over lunch breaks, nothing fancy. She brought leftovers, I brought sandwiches wrapped in foil. A few months later, we were splitting rent on a small place just outside Springfield. Nothing romantic at first, just easy, simple. When she got pregnant, I didn't panic. I'd been broke before. I'd lived off cold water and ramen, but I'd never had anything worth protecting. Until then. We got married down at the courthouse. No big speech, no flowers, just paperwork and 2 signatures. I put my hand on her belly afterward and told myself I was building something real this time. Emily came out with a full head of black hair and this deep stare that made people pause when they looked at her. She was quiet like her mom, but stubborn like me. We brought her home wrapped in hospital blankets and laid her down in a second-hand crib I'd built out of leftover wood. For a while, things were good, real good. Steady hours at the plant, health insurance, a modest house with a fenced yard and a sagging porch I planned to fix one summer. Emily took her first steps in the kitchen, right next to the fridge. Melissa cried and I laughed like I hadn't in years. We weren't rich, but we were stable, predictable. I knew which drawer held clean socks and what time to take out the trash. That kind of peace meant everything. Then one day, a guy I used to work with pulled me aside in the parking lot. "Don't want to get in your business," he said, "but Melissa's been seen around with someone." I didn't yell, didn't blow up. I just came home, sat her down at the kitchen table and asked, "Is there someone else?" She didn't deny it, didn't even look shocked. Just gave me a quiet, "Yeah." I nodded, stood up and said, "All right then." No long fight. No begging. I'd lost too much already to hang on to someone who didn't want to stay. She moved out 2 weeks later, kept in touch for Emily's sake. She sends child support every month, shows up for birthdays, keeps it civil. I don't badmouth her. I don't have to. Emily's smart. She'll figure it out when she's older. After Melissa left, I doubled down. Everything I did went into raising Emily. I packed her lunches, helped with homework, taught her how to hold a wrench. When the porch finally collapsed, she helped me rebuild it, one nail at a time. My truck held steady. My job kept the bills paid. The house stayed warm in winter. That was enough. No handouts, no family help. Just me and my girl, holding it down. The porch was solid now. Took me and Emily 3 weekends, but we made it right. Afterward, we sat out there most nights, her with her sketchbook, me with a cold drink, just listening to the bugs. Then the texts started. First one came on a random Tuesday from a number I hadn't saved. "Hey, it's Mom. Your dad wants to know if you can help cover Darren's truck payment. He's late this month." No, "Hi," no, "How are you?" Just straight to the punch. I didn't answer. A week later, another message. "We're behind on bills. Anything helps." I stared at my phone, thumb hovering over the screen. Against my better judgment, I sent them $300. Didn't get a thank you, just more messages. The water heater broke. Roof's leaking. Darren's starting a trailer hauling business. Needs some cash to get it off the ground. That one asked for 15 grand. 15 grand. I sent 2,000 and told myself it was a final favor. Then it turned into voicemails. My dad's voice. Still heavy, still entitled. "We raised you, Luke. Don't act like you owe us nothing." I played the message twice before deleting it. I vented to Rick, my best friend since high school. He runs an auto body shop down in Miamisburg. Doesn't say much, but when he does, you listen. "They're bleeding you," he said, flipping a wrench in his hand. "You give them an inch, they'll take your spine." That stuck with me. I stopped replying after that. Blocked the numbers, changed my email, shut the door completely. For almost a year, I heard nothing. Quiet again. Emily grew taller. Her laugh got louder. I started sleeping through the night without grinding my teeth. Then the phone rang on a Saturday morning. Not a number I knew, but something in my gut told me to answer. "Luke," my mother said, all breathy like she'd been crying. "Your father's not well." I didn't say anything. "He's sick. His heart's failing, and we're about to lose the house. The bank's calling. We're behind over 200 grand, Luke." I kept my voice flat. "What happened to Darren's business?" She sighed. "It didn't work out." Of course it didn't. "We need help," she said. "We've got nowhere else to go." That line hit different. It wasn't just a money ask, it was a setup. I could feel it in my chest. She wasn't asking me to help. She was expecting it. Like I owed them my life for surviving the one they wrecked. I didn't say yes, but I didn't hang up either. That night, I told Rick everything. "They're setting me up," I said. Rick cracked open a beer and nodded. "Then don't give them an inch." The next morning, I drove out to their place. First time I'd seen it in years. And the second I turned down the street, it was obvious nothing had been taken care of. The yard was a mess, grass knee-high, weeds growing up through the cracks in the driveway. The paint on the porch was peeling in long curls, like the house was shedding skin. I parked at the curb and just sat there a minute. Part of me wanted to drive off. The other part needed to see it through. The front door creaked when I knocked. My mom answered. Her hair was flat, eyes tired, but she still had that pinch smile she used whenever she wanted something. "Come in," she said, stepping aside like this was a regular Sunday visit. The inside was worse, musty, stale, dust clinging to the corners. Furniture hadn't moved in years. A pile of unopened envelopes sat on the coffee table, half of them red-stamped with "Final Notice." I didn't ask. My dad was sitting in his recliner, remote in one hand, legs up. He looked thinner, older, eyes sunken in, but his jaw still tight, still angry. "You look the same," he muttered. "You don't," I said back. He didn't like that, but he didn't argue, no sign of Darren. We sat in silence for a bit until my mom broke it. "It's the bank," she said. "They're moving fast. Foreclosure's already started." I didn't reply. She kept going. "We're over $260,000 in debt. Medical bills, late payments, the mortgage ballooned." She paused like I was supposed to gasp. I didn't. "Your dad needs surgery," she added. "Heart's acting up." "We don't have time." I leaned forward. "So, what do you want?" She blinked, then laid it out like it was a solution for everyone. "We were thinking, maybe you could talk to the bank, buy the house outright. It'd be in your name, of course, just until we get back on our feet." I stared at her. The way she said it, just until, like this was temporary, like it was reasonable. My dad didn't say a word, didn't look at me, just kept flipping through TV channels, thumb tapping the remote like nothing in the room applied to him. I stood up. "Let me think about it." Her eyes lit up. "Really?" I said I'd think. "I'll come back tomorrow. Dinner?" She nodded quickly, like she didn't want to risk me changing my mind. I walked out without another word, got in the truck, slammed the door harder than I needed to, and peeled out of that dead driveway like it was chasing me. That night, I called Rick. "They're setting me up," I said. He didn't even hesitate. "Then don't give them an inch." I pulled into their driveway just before 6. The sun hadn't set yet, but the whole street already felt dark. Same weeds growing through the cracks. Same busted porch. I stepped over a rusted rake and knocked. My mom opened the door with a wide smile like we were about to play cards, not talk about 6 figures of debt. "There's pork chops in the oven," she chirped. "Hope you're hungry." I wasn't, but I walked in anyway. The table was set like this was Thanksgiving. Paper napkins, chipped plates, even a dusty centerpiece I hadn't seen since I was a kid. My dad sat at the far end, same recliner posture, arms crossed, eyes already on me. No hello. "Darren's on his way," my mom said, voice sweet and fake. "He's just running a little behind. You know how he is." Yeah, I did. 15 minutes later, Darren rolled in, loud, button-down shirt, unbuttoned halfway. Sunglasses on his head. Gold chain bouncing on his chest like he'd just stepped off a music video set. He clapped his hands and went, "Damn, it smells good in here." My dad laughed like he'd just heard a great joke. My mom got up to make Darren a plate like he was royalty. I sat at the table, watching the show. No one said a word to me. We ate in silence for a while, forks scraping plates. Darren chewing with his mouth open. I sipped water and waited. Then my mom started. "So," she said, all casual, "we've been thinking more about the house. It really wouldn't take much. You make enough now to cover most of it." I put my fork down. Darren jumped in like it was rehearsed. "You're killing it, man. I saw that truck you drive. And you've got a house already, right? You're solid." I looked right at him. "What about Emily? What about my bills, my mortgage, groceries, school clothes?" My dad rolled his eyes. "Here we go." I turned toward him. "You got something to say?" He pointed his fork at me. "You're still a taker. Always were. Even now, acting like you're doing us a favor." My mom nodded like that settled it. "You wouldn't be where you are without what this family gave up, the sacrifices made for you." I couldn't hold it in anymore. "You took from me," I said, steady but hard. 80 grand, my shot at a real start. You didn't ask. You didn't offer to pay it back. You stole it. And when I left, no one checked in. Not once. Not when I was eating once a day. Not when I was raising a baby alone. Silence. Darren leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "You're being dramatic." I stood up. "I'm buying the house." My mom blinked. "What?" "You heard me. I'm buying it. Not for you. For me. You're not going to lose it to the bank because I'm taking it over. But let's be clear. It'll be mine. My dad scoffed. You wouldn't dare. Darren snorted. You really think you can outdo me? My mom's lip curled. You'll never be more than what we made you. Darren was always the one with drive, with potential. I nodded. We'll see. And I walked out. The next morning, I called Rick. I'm doing it, I said. Need a lawyer, someone sharp. He didn't ask questions, just gave me a name, Tara Monroe, real estate attorney over in Huber Heights. Tough, clean, no nonsense. 3 days later, we were sitting across her desk going through the foreclosure paperwork. She pulled up the bank filings, flipped through the loan statements, and whistled low. They're bleeding, she said, tapping her pen on the edge of the folder. We move quick. It's yours in 2 weeks. But once it's yours, they become tenants. That clear? Crystal, I said. I wired the down payment the same day. Rick handled the inspection. Roof was shot, but nothing unfixable. Foundation solid. Electrical passable. The rest was just time and money, both of which I finally had. I bought the house legally, quietly, clean. No drama, no fighting, no deals made at kitchen tables with fake smiles. A week after closing, I sent them the letter, certified mail. Tara helped draft it. No emotion, just facts. You may remain in the home under a formal rental agreement. Rent is $1,100 monthly. Total owed on prior debts, $260,000. Payable over 5 years with 6% interest. Contract enclosed. The next morning, I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a notification. You've been tagged in a video. I opened the link and there she was, my mother, sitting in the living room, fake tears in her eyes, the camera shaking. Our son's trying to evict us, she said, voice cracking, after everything we gave up for him, after all the sacrifices. She went on for 5 full minutes, called me abusive, cold, said I was tearing the family apart, that Emily would grow up knowing what kind of heartless man raised her. I watched it once. Then I sent it to Tara. She filed a takedown order that same afternoon, got it removed from every platform by morning. I waited for their reply on the rental contract. Nothing. 2 days later, Tara called me. They're refusing to sign, she said. That means we proceed with formal eviction. Do it, I said. That night, Darren finally reached out. First time in years, it was one line. You're cruel. I stared at it for a second, then blocked the number without replying. Emily was upstairs in her room, probably sketching or reading that graphic novel I'd picked up for her last week. She didn't ask why I was gone so much lately. She trusted I had it handled. I knocked on her door. Yeah, she said. I poked my head in. How's Friday sound for pizza night? Her face lit up. Can we get the stuffed crust this time? You bet, I said. Then I shut the door behind me, sat down at the kitchen table, and exhaled for the first time in days. No yelling, no revenge speeches, no gloating, just paperwork, signatures, and a clean cut. That's how you handle snakes. You don't scream when they bite. You cut the grass so everyone sees them. The court didn't waste time. Once Tara filed the eviction, it was over in 6 weeks. 1 court date, 1 signature from the judge, and that was it. Final notice posted right on the front door in yellow tape. They didn't fight it, just packed up and left. The day before the sheriff's crew was scheduled to show. I showed up the next morning with the keys. The house was a wreck, trash bags left open in the hallway, empty beer cans stacked behind the recliner. My mother's old cabinet broken in half near the back door. Smelled like mildew and cigarettes. The kitchen sink was clogged with rice and some kind of meat that had turned gray. A bag of frozen peas sat half melted on the floor, leaking into the linoleum. I walked through slowly, taking it in, room by room. My boots stuck to the floor in spots. When I opened the door to my old bedroom, I just stood there for a while. Darren had turned it into his dumping ground. Broken speakers, old business cards, boxes of cheap hats with a fake landscaping logo. One busted lawnmower with no wheels, just sitting in the middle of the carpet like some monument to failure. I didn't touch anything, just walked out, called a cleanup crew, and told them I wanted it done by the end of the week. Paid extra to have it deep cleaned and aired out. 2 weeks later, the house was livable again. I listed it for rent. Got a message the same day from a young couple, teachers, early 30s. They pulled into the driveway in a rusted Honda, asked a few questions, filled out the application right there on the hood of their car. They signed the lease 2 days later, on time, respectful, quiet. When the first check cleared, I opened a new savings account and named it Emily College Fund. I didn't post about it, didn't announce it, just did it. A few days later, I ran into Mrs. Langley, old neighbor who used to bring cookies around when I was a kid. She was walking her dog, stopped when she saw me in the driveway. "Your folks moved into those apartments on 5th Street, she said, giving me a look. "Not much to them. Your brother's there too, I think." I just nodded. "He's selling used cars online now," she added. "Had a different one parked out front every day this week." I thanked her, walked back inside, and shut the door. Didn't check the listings, didn't Google the address, didn't care. I went to my phone, opened my blocked list, and made it permanent. No more just checking in, no more guilt, no more anything. It felt weird, honestly. Not satisfying, not victorious, just done. Like putting the lid on a box you never plan to open again. And that was enough. I pulled into my own driveway, shut off the engine, and just sat there a second. Sun was dipping low, and the porch light clicked on by itself. Motion sensor I installed last spring. Simple, solid, home. The front door flew open before I could even grab my keys. Emily came running down the steps barefoot. "Dad!" I stepped out and caught her in a hug. She held on tight. "I missed you," she mumbled into my shoulder. "I missed you too, kiddo." She pulled back and smiled. "You smell like sawdust." "Don't act like that's not your favorite." She laughed, then tugged my hand. "Come on, we still gotta paint the fins on the rocket. Science project's due Monday." We headed into the garage. The model rocket was laid out across the workbench. Cardboard tubes, a roll of masking tape, red spray paint, and 3 sticky notes with scribbled math. She pulled on her goggles. I grabbed the can. As we worked, she glanced up. "Is Grandma still mad at you?" I didn't flinch. "Probably. Why?" I kept my voice even. "Sometimes people don't like hearing no." She thought about that, then nodded. "Okay." That was it. No follow-up, no digging, just trust. We finished the rocket, let it dry, then went inside. Rick showed up 10 minutes later with steaks and a 6-pack. "Hope you're hungry," he said. "Brought the good stuff." We grilled in the backyard while Emily worked on her poster board. Rick talked about expanding the shop. I told him maybe it was time we bought that second truck. "Split the cost?" he asked. "Or I buy it and you owe me rent," I said, smirking. We both laughed. Later, I leaned on the deck railing, watching the smoke rise from the grill. Emily was in the grass, laying out supplies under the porch light. Rick was poking at the steaks like he knew what he was doing. Emily started humming to herself, then burst into a laugh when the dog knocked over her poster board. I didn't say anything, didn't move, just stood there and thought, this is it. This is the family I chose. No noise, no begging, no games, just steady hands, warm food, laughter in the yard, no more proving anything, no more guilt, just peace.